If this fight had taken place 5 years ago when you two first had words at the press conference as opposed to now, would it go the same way, or how would it be different?
The press conference probably would have went a different way. That's for damn sure. But the bout, I feel, probably would go the same way. So.
Okay. Yeah. And for Cowboy, biggest challenge of your career, or just one of many?
Oh man, yeah, he's the two-time belt-holding champ, man. So you could definitely say this is to date the toughest battle I've stepped in against, and I'm stoked, man.
The major influence on Fight World was Anthony Bourdain.
Interesting. How so?
Yeah. I have been such a huge admirer and fan of Bourdain, of how he took basically, which was a pseudo travel / food show, and created this cultural phenomenon. And I thought, I was in China making a movie, and I got this light bulb moment. I went, I think I could pull off what Bourdain is doing, but instead of the food culture, I could embed myself in fight culture, because I'm such a fan of fighters and why they fight. And Netflix, to their credit, they bought it in the room, and I was off to the races.
Tyson Fury's actual technique and ability to throw straight punches, really crisp, and it's not really that great. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but he doesn't look like a guy who would be teaching technique to any upcoming fighters. Am I wrong on that? His defense is great and he hits hard, but it doesn't look like he's got a hell of a lot of technique or in straight crisp punching.
Or body structure.
Right.
He's the last guy that you would see and say, oh yeah, he's the heavyweight champ of the world. But, just like Floyd Mayweather has his own style, that nobody's going to be Floyd Mayweather. And the same thing with Tyson Fury, is his style cannot be duplicated by any other heavyweight.
Right.
It's his style.
Were you scared at all about what you were doing, or did you have any thoughts about, no one's not even hearing much about women's MMA? What was your mindset about wanting to get into fighting back then, and what was it like fighting in those early days?
It certainly wasn't the cool thing to do, and it wasn't very widely accepted. I mean, my family, nobody wanted me to do it. Nobody really supported me full-heartedly. My mom tried to support, as any mother would do when their child says, this is what I want to do. Even men's MMA at that point wasn't so widespread.
Right.
There was still some uphill battles. They were men in the UFC and all that were still battling the stigma, that these are a bunch of dumb, toothless brawlers.
We have the fighting legend from Brazil, Mr. Walid Ismail.
Pleasure to be in your show. I follow. You do a great job training with my brothers. Man, you're from the business.
If I fight against Romero again, for sure, I don't have doubt about that, I will knock him out.
Most trainers and most of the guys, the cornermen that work with fighters, they know, after working with the fighter a while, they know the amount of punishment that their fighter can endure and that their fighter can take and should take. And they also know that fighters are the last person to say, I've had enough.
Right.
And the last person to say, I'm hurt and I can't or I shouldn't go any further. But it's to the job of the corner men and the trainers to know when his fighter has had enough.